Now, I've got a little confession to make. The last video I made wasn't actually my final draft. This probably is, and I'm going to take you through it in this video. All right, before we get going, if you haven't already, please join the Golden Goal Mini League. Prize for first place is, I've actually got one here. I'm having my morning coffee out of it at the moment. A Golden Goal branded mug and a packet of biscuits of your choice. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure I can ship them to most places in the world. Obviously, this is an international game. If I can ship it to you, that will be your prize for winning the Mini League. The code is on screen there, and I'll leave a link in the description below. All right, then, my booster strategy, well, it remains relatively unchanged, I've got to say. I'm planning to wildcard in Matchday 3, primarily because I'm targeting and picking players from the teams who I think have the best groups and the most likelihood of scoring goals, keeping clean sheets. And that probably means they're going to be through to the knockout stages after 2 games. And you'd imagine they're going to rotate a little bit in Matchday 3. And for that, I think you're best off using the wildcard to target the players that aren't going to be rotated and should score maximum points. So I'm looking to use the wildcard on Matchday 3. 12th man chip, I'm still a little bit in between Matchday 1 and 2, but I am leaning towards Matchday 1, and it goes hand in hand with the max captain, really. Primarily because I think on paper, when you look at the matchups, the quality of players on show in the Club World Cup, etc., Harry Kane versus Auckland City in Matchday 1, I think is the best, at least on paper, captaincy decision of the entire tournament. There's going to be no bigger golfing class between 2 teams in terms of their FIFA rankings. And I don't think there's not many players in the world you would bank to score more goals than Harry Kane, right? So I think on paper, that's the best captaincy. So that leads me to think 12th man's probably worth using in Matchday 1 in that case, because, you know, best on paper captain plays in Matchday 1. And then the max captain, when Matchday 2 is a little bit more, well, it's not clear to me who the best captain is in Matchday 2, sorry. All my words are mixed up there. It's not clear to me who the best captain is in Matchday 2. So with that in mind, I want to take that out of my hands and let the game decide for me. And I'm going to use the max captain chip in that Matchday, in Matchday 2. Reason for that is I just think the group stages is where the most goals and the biggest gulf between teams is going to be and where the most points are going to be scored. So I've no issue just splurging all my chips, basically, in the first 3 match days during the group stages. We have, obviously, a wild card in round of 16 as well, obviously, for the start of the knockout stages. And beyond that, we've got a mystery chip as well. Exactly what that mystery chip entails, don't know yet. No idea. I've got no intelligence on it at all. But I think, you know, best off just using that in the knockout stages, to be honest. So, yeah, that's my booster strategy as things stand. All right, I've got some data to take you through then from the Elevenify model. Elevenify is a great source of fantasy football-based projections. What we've got here is each team's projected goals. I'm going to show you clean sheet odds after this. And then we've got player projected goals and player projected assists as well. So hopefully some useful data to back up the picks I've made in my team. And also hopefully to help you make some picks for yours as well. Obviously, I'm showing you my team in this video. You probably won't want to copy it player for player. So, you know, hopefully you can use this data to help yourselves. As I said, the biggest gulf between 2 teams in this entire tournament is Bayern Munich versus Auckland City in Matchday 1. I use these models for fantasy Premier League content. You probably play this, probably play FPL if you're watching this channel, but I've never seen 4.78 projected goals in a game in my entire life. I don't think I've even seen more than 3.5 goals realistically on a projection model before, mostly because it's based on the Premier League where the ties are a little bit closer. But seeing Bayern Munich with 4.78, Man City in Matchday 2 with 3.99, Benfica with 3.63, and Man City in Matchday 1 with 3.49 as well. Those numbers are just unheard of in normal like European League football. So I think that says to me, you know, there's a massive gulf between these 2 teams. And particularly with me, when I'm looking at, you know, using all 3 of my chips during the group stages and trying to absolutely, basically the decisions I make now because I'm wildcarding in Matchday 3, I need to pick players from teams that have good fixtures in Matchday 1 and 2. Bayern Munich, Man City, Chelsea, who else are we looking at? Inter, Dortmund, Benfica, particularly in Matchday 2, Benfica, and PSG, particularly in Matchday 2 as well. Those are, based on at least projected goals, those are the teams I'm looking to target. And then the same really applies to clean sheet odds as well. Both models, both numbers, I guess, and you probably obvious information, but they're based on the quality of fixtures that these teams have. And the 3 highest clean sheet odds throughout the tournament, Bayern Munich Matchday 1, 83% likely to keep a clean sheet. Just ridiculous. I've never seen 83% clean sheet odds in my entire time playing fantasy football and looking at models. 67% for Juventus in matchday 2 and at 60% in matchday 1 as well. Man City are 65 in matchday 1. Chelsea, Inter, Flamengo, they're all above 50. Matchday 2, plenty of teams again above 50%. Bayern, City, Inter, Juventus, Dortmund, Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain are pretty good. Atletico 58, and Benfica 75%. Then in matchday 3, it looks like Boca Juniors have got a good fixture. 70% for them. Chelsea on 64, 57 for PSG. You can just see the clean sheet odds there. And what this is suggesting to me is, given the number of transfers we'll have available and the fact that it's only a -3 points for a hit in this game, for a hit, I mean basically making more transfers than the actual allocation. You only lose 3 points for making additional transfers rather than 4, which you can lose in other games. This should hopefully paint a picture to you of moves you want to make between, not necessarily, well, you can work out the players you want to buy, but teams to teams, if that makes sense. So potentially, if you're, I don't know, on loads of Chelsea players for match day 1, you could move them on to Benfica, or maybe you're on loads of Bayern Munich players and don't really want to be filled out on Bayern Munich for match day 2, you can move them on to Benfica or maybe PSG players, something like that. But these projected goals, clean sheet odds should give you an idea of how you might want to play that. All right then, so you've got some individual player stats then. This is just across the group stages. And, well, the top players for projected goals you can see here, basically. Standouts, well, you got Harry Kane in match day 1. He's projected to score 1.72 goals. If you round that up, he's projected to score 2 goals in that game, basically. You know, you can't have 1.72 goals. Anything above 1.5, you've got to round up. No, basic maths, that's 2 goals. Haaland is projected to score a goal in each of the first 2 games. Who else is a standout there? Guirassy looks really good. I've said that all along. He might not be in this team, but he's a great option if you can squeeze him in. Obviously, Mbappe, Kane and Haaland, they're always going to be up there. Palmer's up there. I really like the look of Pavlidis in matchday 2. Obviously, I suggested Benfica are a real team to target. Dembele, I think he's going to be a bit hit and miss with injury, isn't he? So I'd be a little bit put off going for Dembele. I see Sane on the bottom of that list, who I believe last night was on a plane to Turkey to join Galatasaray, so maybe you could rule him out of that Bayern team. But yeah, as things stand, that's what the projected goals are looking like. You see that? I hit my mic out of excitement. I don't know if you heard that. In terms of assists, well, you got Savio of Man City, if he plays the minutes, of course. Michael Olise, who I think is the standout Bayern Munich midfielder. Thomas Muller, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, Yaris Keita of Flamengo, Trent, Modric. We'll see what happens with him. Julian Brand. Well, you can see all the players there. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but if you want to pause the video, check it out for assists, you can. For me, I'm more focused on goals because they're more points bearing than assists, but it's obviously nice to pick players that are likely to get assists too. All right, then there's one more thing I wanted to show you or talk about before I actually get onto the team, and that's this scouting points bonus. So if you have a player in your team that scores more than 4 points in a game and is fewer than 5% owned in the game, you get an extra 2 points. Now, I don't think you absolutely want to fill out your team with players less than 5% owned, don't get me wrong. But I do think this extra 2 points could be really useful. And the area where I think it's probably most useful is in defence. This is how my defence is looking currently. And I would say this is the element of my team that's most likely to change, because it will entirely depend on a lot of these players' ownerships as to whether I actually end up going for them. I've got Di Gregorio of Juventus. We saw their clean sheet odds for the first couple of games looking really strong. Happy to go for him. At the moment, he is teetering on literally 5% ownership. So whether he's actually my starting goalkeeper going into the game, we'll wait and see, because it entirely depends on his ownership, basically. Right now, he's in there, but it's pretty close. And I've gone for Armani, the likely starting River Plate goalkeeper, as his backup. Dumfries, he's not less than 5% owned, but I think he's probably one of the best attacking defenders in world football. Every time I ever see Dumfries play a game, he has a chance of scoring a goal, regardless of the manager that he's playing under. And I think that will continue in the Club World Cup. The only question I'm asking myself, is Trent better? That's the only thing. We've not seen Trent obviously play for Real Madrid yet, so I'm not sure. So for the time being, I've gone for Dumfries. Lloyd Kelly, he is under 5% ownership. In fact, I'll show you. So you've got the players there. I'll just quickly show you their ownerships. Kelly's currently on 2.7%, at least at the time that I'm recording this video. So I think he's likely to start the game under 5. And he's going to be a really good option if he is that ownership. I think he's going to play every game for Juventus. And I think they're going to keep a couple of clean sheets to start the tournament off, which of course means an extra 2 points for each clean sheet. I've gone for Hakimi because, well, I think he's probably one of, if not the best defender in world, well, attacking defenders in world football right now. PSG do have a really tough fixture against Atletico to start things off. Again, I'm getting too excited about this game. I'm struggling to get my words out. I think he's going to do well in that game. The only question is, do I want to pick him for match day 1, or do I want to go with someone else and then transfer him in for match day 2? For the time being, I'm sticking with him because I think even against Atletico, PSG could do well, but he could potentially move, as could Dumfries. I'm just telling you basically where the weaker points are in my team and where I could potentially make moves. Rafael Guerreiro, if he starts, I think he's the best Bayern Munich defender. Extremely attacking when he plays at left back, and he's got experience of playing on the wings as well. With Alphonso Davies out injured, there's a gap for the Bayern Munich left back, but it has been filled by a range of different players from Bayern Munich. I think I've seen Lima play there. Can't remember the defender's name now. There's a centre back who's been playing there, and Guerreiro. So it is a little bit up in the air as to who will start at left back. But I think with the fact that they're playing Auckland City, if you were Company, and it's the biggest gulf between two teams in the entire tournament, right? You're not going to pick a left back in my mind who is defensively. You're not picking them for the reasons of being defensively solid. In my mind, you'll pick one to be attacking. And I think surely out of the three that have played there, Rafael Guerreiro is the most attacking, right? So surely he's going to play at left back. That's at least what I'm hoping. And I think if he does, he's got obviously chances of attacking returns and, well, over 80% chance of keeping a clean sheet. And finally, Svensson, I'll go back to the ownership because as things stand, it's getting close. He's 4.7% owned in the game at the moment, so he's creeping up on that 5% ownership. You can go for him or Ryerson. I've gone for him because he takes corners, which I don't think Ryerson does. And obviously, he's under 5% owned. Dortmund have good fixtures. I've gone for Svensson over Ryerson. But if the ownership changes and he goes above 5, I think I may as well save the money, go for Ryerson or just pick someone else entirely. But for the time being, I've got Svensson. Di Gregorio's on 5%, which is a little bit concerning. And to be honest, I don't see that ownership dropping. So we'll see. But that's my defence as the time is currently. As I said, ownership and maybe Hakimi / Dumfries, me losing confidence as time goes on, might be where I tinker here. I feel like a bit of a fraud, I won't lie. So I said this is my final draft, but there's even players in my midfield that I could potentially change. I think I've got 4 that are completely locked, right? Diarras Keita, although even I'm a little bit dubious of him because Jorginho has signed for Flamengo now, and I'd wonder if he takes the penalties off Diarras Keita. But regardless, Diarras Keita is the talisman for Flamengo, and they've got a great fixture in match day 1. And I'm of the mind of swapping him on for a Benfica midfielder for match day 2. So that's my thinking there. Enzo Fernandez, I think, is going to offer a good balance of attacking returns and maybe a bit of tackle bonus points as well. I haven't really mentioned the tackle bonus because, honestly, I don't think it's all that powerful. But it's nice to have a player that can do both. So I've gone for Fernandez. Mastantuono, he is the one that could potentially be moved on. I'm a little bit concerned as to his signing to Real Madrid and what that means for his involvement in the Club World Cup. Does he play? Does he not? I'm of the mind that he probably does still play for River Plate, but likewise, he could sign for Madrid and never play for River Plate again before the Club World Cup. So that's still definitely up in the air. There is Francisco. I think it's Francisco Moura of. There's 2 that sound very similar for Porto. There is another cheap Porto midfielder that you could go for instead of Mastantuono. That might be what I do if I have, more reasons than not to get rid of him and don't think he's going to play. Elise is just the best Bayern Munich midfielder by far. He played the most games, most minutes, got the most goals, got the most assists of all of those Bayern Munich midfielders. Sane obviously being off to Galatasaray now. He obviously leaves one less option in that Bayern Munich midfield. So it could mean some more minutes for someone like Serge Gnabry, potentially. So maybe he could come in. Just don't know how I squeeze Gnabry in there with the budget I've got available. But yeah, Elise's the strongest Bayern Munich midfielder. So I've gone for him to kick things off. And then Cole Palmer. He didn't have the best run at the end of the season for Chelsea, of course. But he's still Cole Palmer. Chelsea have a good group. All 3 of their games in their group stage, they should win off the back of a Conference League win. I think Cole Palmer's going to be just fine. He's on penalties, free kicks. Chelsea's absolute talisman. Probably going to play every minute. I really like him as an option. I think you've got to have him. Up front then, I've gone for Kane, Haaland and Aguilar of Porto. I don't think these 3 need any more explanation, really. Kane, like I said, I think he's the best captain. Probably this week or this match day in the entire tournament. Gone for him. Haaland. I haven't gone for Mbappe, as you can see. As things stand at the moment. But yeah, Haaland's in there. I just think Man City are going to do really well this tournament. And I wanted some Man City coverage One thing I didn't mention about my defence, actually, is that I've moved Guardiola out. And that's purely because I don't know what the Aït-Nouri signing means for Man City and Guardiola's positioning. And I wanted Man City coverage because I think they're going to have a great tournament. It's just a case of who do you actually pick from Man City? Who can you hang your hat on playing all the games? And I think Haaland is probably the only one, really. And then I've gone for Aguilar, also known as Samu, if you want to do your own research on him. He's 4.2 million on penalties if he plays for Porto, and he scored 25 goals for them this season. So, yeah, 4.2 million for a 25 goal in a season striker, I think is just, yeah, too much to say no to. And finally, like I said, I'm going to play the 12th man chip this week, and I'm going to use it on Mbappe. I feel like he's the one player that I feel like I'm really missing out on when picking this team. I've gone for Mbappe as my 12th man. I can't possibly afford him in this team. The only question is, do I go for a Bayern Munich midfielder instead? Because obviously it means I can have a fourth Bayern Munich player. But for the time being, I've gone for the more expensive Mbappe. Anything else to mention in this team? Yeah, like I said, ownership might change some of these decisions. So Di Gregorio has just creeped over 5%. Do I move him on now? I'm still of the mind to keep him, but yeah, a little bit concerned about that. Kelly's still under. I think he's going to make it under 5. Svensson, he's getting agonisingly close. More and more people, I think, are cottoning on. I do wonder how... I don't actually know how many people are playing this game and how many people are following us FPL, well, Fantasy Club World Cup content creators, seeing us picking Svensson, because I think quite a lot of us have him, because it makes sense, right? Yeah, his ownership's going up. We'll see. We'll see how much impact we have on that ownership. But those are the 3 that I'm keeping an eye on, really, in terms of ownership. And like I said, there are a few players that might not actually make the final draft. Guerrero, it doesn't look like he's going to play. Hakimi, with that first fixture against Atletico. Dumfries, new manager. What is that? I think he'll be all right, to be fair. I think Dumfries will probably make it. And Mastantuono, if he signs for Madrid and can't play for River Plate, that's obviously a problem that I need to resolve. But yeah, as things stand, I'm pretty sure we're close now. And to be honest, if you follow my account on X, which you'll see on the screen here, Golden Goal FF, I'm actually away this weekend swimming at, well, the Masters Nationals Championships in London. So I'm not going to be able to, I don't think, make any content, but I'll keep you updated on what my team's looking like on my X account. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. You know, as things go on, I'm also, if you're watching this on Thursday, I'm going live with FPL Tom and Bobby this evening, where we'll talk about our teams and our views on the game and how we're going to go, etc. So yeah, I'll leave a link on a YouTube post to that. Anyway, I feel like I rambled on after talking about my team there. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments if there's any changes you think I should make to this team. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just here on your screen. I know I said I can't make any content this weekend, but throughout the Club World Cup, I'm relatively free and should be able to make some more content for the future match days. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Sorry for the ramble there, and I'll catch you in my next video.